The glass shattered against the hardwood floor, a sharp, jagged sound that sliced through the quiet of the night. Clara froze, her hand still outstretched, the wine bottle now a mess of shards and crimson liquid at her feet. Her husband, James, stood in the doorway, his face pale, his phone clutched tightly in his hand. "Who's Michael?" he asked, his voice low, trembling with something Clara couldn't quite place. Anger, fear, or maybe both. Her heart thudded in her chest, each beat louder than the last, as she realized the message he'd seen wasn't meant for him. It was meant for her, and it was from someone she'd sworn James would never know about. Clara and James had been married for 7 years, their life in a cozy Chicago suburb, a picture of quiet perfection. James was a software engineer, steady and predictable, the kind of man who never forgot an anniversary or left dishes in the sink. Clara, a freelance graphic designer, filled their home with color, bright paintings on the walls, vases of fresh flowers, her laughter echoing through the rooms. But beneath the surface, Clara had been restless for months. She loved James, or at least she thought she did. But the spark that once lit up their evenings had dimmed. Routine had replaced romance, and she found herself craving something, someone, to make her feel alive again. That someone was Michael. She'd met him 3 months ago at a local art gallery where her work was being displayed. He was a photographer, all sharp cheekbones and easy charm, with a way of looking at her that made her feel like the only person in the room. They'd started with coffee, then late-night texts, then stolen moments in his studio, where the air smelled of chemicals and possibility. Clara told herself it was harmless, a fling to shake off the monotony, something she could control. But control was slipping, and now, with James staring at her across their kitchen, she knew the truth was about to spill out like the wine on the floor. "Clara," James said, stepping closer, his eyes searching hers. "Tell me who he is. Now." She opened her mouth, but no words came. Her mind raced, replaying the last few months, Michael's hands on her waist, the way he whispered her name, the guilt that gnawed at her every time she came home to James's trusting smile. She could lie, say Michael was a client, a friend, anything to buy time. But the message James had seen, "Meet me tonight, I can't stop thinking about you," wasn't something she could explain away. "It's not what you think," she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. James laughed, a bitter sound that made her flinch. "Not what I think. Clara, I saw the texts. I saw his name light up your phone every night this week. Do you think I'm stupid?" He tossed his phone onto the counter, the screen still glowing with the incriminating message. Clara's stomach twisted. She'd been careless, leaving her phone unlocked, assuming James would never suspect her. But he had. And now the life they'd built was teetering on the edge of collapse. The argument that followed was a storm of accusations and denials. Clara admitted to meeting Michael, but insisted it was just a friendship, a creative connection. James didn't believe her, his voice rising with every question. When did it start? How far did it go? Did she love him? Each word was a knife, cutting deeper into the trust they'd once shared. Clara wanted to tell him everything, to confess and beg for forgiveness, but pride and fear held her back. Instead, she watched as James grabbed his keys and stormed out, the door slamming behind him. For hours, Clara sat alone in the dark, the silence heavier than the fight. She thought about calling Michael. But what would she say? That her marriage was crumbling because of him? That she wasn't sure she wanted to leave James, even now? She thought about the early days with James, the way he'd proposed under a sky full of stars, promising to love her through anything. Could he love her through this? Could she love herself? The next morning, James came back. His eyes were red, his clothes rumpled, but his voice was calm. "I spent the night at a hotel," he said, sitting across from her at the kitchen table. "I thought about leaving you, Clara. I thought about hating you. But I don't want to lose us." Clara's breath caught. She hadn't expected this. Not forgiveness, not a chance to rebuild. "I need to know everything," he continued. "No lies. And I need you to choose, me or him." The choice wasn't as simple as Clara wanted it to be. Michael was a flame, bright and consuming, but James was her anchor, the one who'd held her through every storm. She spent the day talking to James, telling him about Michael, about the emptiness she'd felt, about the mistakes she'd made. It was raw, painful, the kind of honesty that left them both exhausted. By evening, Clara made her decision. She texted Michael one last time. "It's over. Don't contact me again." Then she deleted his number, her hands shaking as she did. The weeks that followed were fragile. Clara and James went to counseling, learning to navigate the cracks in their marriage. Some days were good, filled with tentative laughter and small gestures of love. Others were hard, shadowed by doubt and the ghost of what Clara had done. But they kept going, rebuilding not just what they'd had, but something stronger, forged in the fire of truth. One night, months later, Clara found James in the kitchen holding a bottle of wine. He smiled, a real smile, and poured 2 glasses. "To us," he said, raising his glass. Clara clinked hers against it, the sound soft and clear, a promise that they'd made it through. And as she sipped the wine, she knew she'd chosen right. Not just James, but the life they were creating, one honest moment at a time.